Yourself constantly thinking about alcohol, even at AA meetings or recovery meetings, or when you're trying to not drink, you think about alcohol day in and day out. Do you feel like it's something weighing on your back every single day? When something good happens, you think about drinking. When something bad happens, you think about drinking. When nothing happens, you think about drinking. And no matter what in your life, you feel like and you think about drinking way too much. This is one of the big problems that alcoholics have, where they talk about drinking, not drinking, and whether they should go to meetings or not. And this is something very important because of the fact that thinking oftentimes leads to drinking. So today we're going to go over that. We're going to talk about how that works in a real world way so that you can stop thinking about drinking. And if you are frustrated and you can't stop thinking about drinking and the cravings come and everything like that, we're going to talk to you about the truth of what worked for us that we finally learned and were able to stop thinking about alcohol. So, Terry, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. It's a beautiful day, except I got a bee sting yesterday when I was riding my bike on a steep downhill and it went into my jersey and I got swelled up and it itches like crazy. Oh man, I haven't got stung by a bee in a while. Anyways, that's not what we're talking about. I'll try not to scratch my chest too much. It's driving me crazy. But anyways, yeah, you were talking about the constantly thinking about drinking, and that's kind of the way I was, especially those last couple years of drinking, and the first while I was sober as well. I thought a lot about alcohol and not drinking is what it was. Is how do I stop and all that, and you know, there's kind of a process that most people go through when they're going through the process of stopping drinking, and for many it's a lot more difficult than for others. Some people, they quit drinking and they're done, and that's it. And well, I don't I it's crazy that that happens to some people, and some people they just don't. A lot of people in AA will say they don't get it, and that's not necessarily the way it is. A typical pattern for somebody is they hit a bottom of some sort, a bottom in their life. For some people, it's as low as ending up on Skid Row, becoming homeless, losing everything in their life, or going to jail or something like that, or something really bad happens. And for others, their bottom they may not have had any negative consequences, at least legally, and that you can see. They just feel really bad, and they're realizing that alcohol is not the answer for them. But either way, most people hit a bottom, and that's when they usually will reach out for help or try that process of stopping drinking. And that looks different for many people. I mean, for some people, they go as far as going to rehab, and it might be a detox rehab where it's just a week or two or something like that, or a 30-day rehab, and some people do 90 days, 6 months, a year. There's all sorts of different ways a person can do rehab. They can quit on their own. That's always a very difficult thing. There's usually not a lot of success with people that just stop and try and stay stopped on their own without getting any help. There's AA, of course, and AA. Who knows what the success rate? Don't believe anything you see or hear because, as far as statistics go for any of these programs, because somebody that starts drinking again after they quit, they're not going to answer somebody that's taken a survey. Did you stay sober? They're not going to be. Those studies are not accurate. Anyways, I'm going off to on the side. Let's keep on the subject here. And you can get sober online. There's online programs. You watch a whole bunch of videos from people, and you don't sign up for an online course. There's online courses. We have one ourselves. There's other programs that like Life Ring and things like that, and there's also medications that you can take, and many people do a combination of all this stuff, and so a lot of people end up stopping drinking at this point, whatever they do, whatever their method of getting sober is, and they're feeling good about themselves. And they've learned lots of stuff going through these programs or quitting on their own and just watching videos, whatever, you still learn stuff. You learn that alcohol is bad, that it basically doesn't have any benefits for you, and that you can't even have one drink. And all these programs will tell you that that one drink is the worst one because you're not going to know when to stop, and that's usually the case. Maybe you can stop for a short time, a couple weeks, a couple months, but usually the people start drinking again. And you've also learned that if you keep on drinking, whatever your negative consequences have been, things are probably going to get worse if you keep drinking. And we learn this when we get sober. I learned this when I got sober. I started drinking again, and it just got worse and worse. And so that's the way many people are. But most people, or I should say many, I don't really know exactly, but many people at that point they never drink again. And it's kind of a mystery as far as why some people never drink again and some start drinking again. So, we get what happens when we decide that we're going to take a drink after we've gone through all this time, effort, possibly a lot of money to get sober. I mean, what causes us? I mean, it's really as simple as, for me, it was as simple as I had a thought. I had a thought that I would take a drink. I was going to take a drink. I was actually in a recovery meeting, and I thought, I'm going to go and get a bottle. And I went and got a bottle, and I started drinking again. Why? Why did I do that? I mean, is crazy. I can't really. Well, I'm going to attempt to answer that. And we we realize that alcohol doesn't have any benefits. I knew that, and I still decided I was going to go take a drink. And what were some of the answers? For me, it kind of felt like I really like the feeling of alcohol. I like the feeling of alcohol until the last day I drink. It's just that that feeling didn't last very long, and I needed more and more and more. And I was getting negative consequences, but I liked that feeling anyways. And that was part of the reason. It made me go get a drink. A lot of us, we might have something bad that happens in our lives, and we want to get an escape. And we are at the back of our mind, we remember that alcohol was a way to escape. Yeah, the problem didn't go away. It may be worse tomorrow if I don't take care of what I need to take care of today, but you know, right now I just want a drink. It's going to allow me to escape. And that's common for many people. We're Another thing is that maybe even though we learn this stuff, and the especially the big one that you can't even have one drink, maybe we're not deep down in our heart thoroughly convinced that that one drink is going to hurt us. And that might be that might be it right there. We're just not completely convinced. We don't believe that alcohol is truly bad for us, and we don't believe that we can't drink moderately. We think maybe I can. I've got this. I've got some sobriety under my belt. Maybe that's what our thought might be. And we don't have, maybe another reason is, and this was pretty common for me too, is I didn't really have another way that I had learned to, I don't know, I'll just say feel good, as far as like what some of the things I do now. And I did these things before alcohol became a problem, was cycling, spending time with my family, my dog, doing these things, helping other people. I never helped anybody, and nowadays I try to help other people get sober, stay sober from alcohol. That's really a satisfying thing to do, things like that. So what do we do to stay sober? And the on my thumbnail, I said stop the cravings, and that's one of the big things, is having control of your cravings. And just to get Marcus in here a little bit, but Marcus, I was kind of what's your perspective on this, as far as before you learned what to do? What kind of happened with you as far as trying to get sober?
Yeah, so for me, when I was trying to get sober, I got a little bit of an echo on your volume. There it goes. I don't know why it goes away after a minute. Do
Huh.
you guys hear that? Type echo if you guys heard that. So when I was trying to get sober, I had struggled. I went to many different therapists. I had an online coach that was supposed to help me stay sober. And I had all kinds of things, but nobody seemed to tell me how chemical dependency worked and how alcohol tied into chemical dependency, how I was battling a chemical, which was something I would lose. Once I realized that battling a chemical is something that I lose, no matter what, it is a chemical, I will lose. Then I realized, well, if I don't introduce the chemical, I can't lose. So that kind of changed the way that I thought. But no one really taught me that. I mean, they taught us that in rehab a little bit. I would say more than most rehabs, although I was just thinking about it this morning. And, my brother went to the same rehab I did, same one Terry did. Unfortunately, he's not sober. We are. So what is the difference? What was it that we got that he didn't? And I can boil it down to the truth in the fact that the chemical is the issue. He doesn't believe that. He believes it's still the solution. And once we believe it's the problem rather than the solution, then everything starts to change. Because now I know that when I drink, it will react all those things and I will not be able to fight it. Like once I drink, it's over. If I don't drink, it's not going to happen. It is impossible for me to get drunk today if I don't drink, with the rare exception of one medical condition that like two people had in the entire planet. Um, and knowing that is key because now, a lot of people talk about battling the thoughts. I think about drinking. I have a craving. I have this. I have that. Well, yeah, I mean, we all do. Sometimes when things get crazy, even after 10 years sober, I get a craving for a drink. Oh, that would be nice. Oh, maybe that would. But I realized that a craving is really nothing. It's like a reward punishment kind of thing. Like, what is going to happen if I drink? Well, I've proven it to myself. I will get drunk and nothing good's going to happen. And the payoff isn't even that great. Like, I mean, you see normal people who are not alcoholics who drink and they're like, take it or leave it, whatever. That one tastes like crap. None of them taste like crap to me because I wanted alcohol. So it was all good. Why? Because my brain had been hijacked. And once I realized that the thoughts I'm fighting are not my thoughts, those are the alcohol's thoughts. The feelings I'm craving are the alcohol's feelings. So if I take the alcohol out, that's going to go away. Now, in the beginning, like Cody says, still has cravings all the time. That's fine. I mean, I can want to eat junk food. Like I'm trying to eat healthy right now, but unfortunately, hold on one second. All right, it went away. Unfortunately, junk food is not only, easier accessible, but it's also good. When you're in a bad mood, there's nothing better than some greasy chicken or something like that, And I get cravings for that stuff. And now that we have DoorDash, it's like, okay, can you just bring it right here and feed me? It's easy to get. It's harder to get healthy, good stuff. And trying to eat healthy, sometimes I crave bad stuff. But I know that the payoff is, okay, I'm not going to feel that great. It's in the long run, it's not going to be that great. And if I focus on things that make me feel good, then I'm going to win the battle. And it's like a snowball, right? I remember one year the doctor was like, okay, you're like, 40, eat an apple every day, stop having meat for lunch, and you'll feel better. I started having an apple day and having a decent lunch. And I noticed having that apple changes things. But when I don't have it, it's really hard to have it, right? You think, just go get an apple and eat it. Well, for me, apples do something to my teeth and it bothers the hell out of me. It's something with the skin, drives me nuts, can't stand it. So like I have to cut it. I can't just eat it regular. And so, you're like, oh, well, now I got to go cut the apple. Now I got to eat it. And when I get off of the course of eating my apple for a week or two, it's almost easier just to forget about it and reach for some candy or reach for something that's not that good for me, which doesn't make me feel that good. And it's funny because as alcoholics, you might not even know that you don't feel good because it's just baseline. I remember back then, it was like, if I'm not completely hungover, falling over, then I'm okay. The doctor begged to differ because I was alcoholically destroying my life. But, I wasn't that great. And I remember I had a friend who was really heavy, very heavy guy. He was short and very heavy. And I had asked him, I said, the way that you eat and the way I watch you, do you feel good? And he was like, no, I feel like shit all the time. And I'm like, then why do you do it? Because for me, we drink because we wanted to feel good. We
Yep.
are feel good junkies. That's what we want. That's what we're after. That's all we care about. If I could feel good, then that's good. Right? I remember in rehab, they were talking about a certain drug. And I had thought to myself, wow, if I ever have that one time, I will be hooked for life, because they described the feeling of it. And I was like, that is what I want. Luckily, I got sober before I had a chance to go and dive into that. But knowing that, okay, that's how I would want to feel. And how many of us feel bad all the time? Right? We feel bad. Like someone says they drank on the 4th of July. I'll bet the 5th of July was not a good day for you. Right? And why do we do this? We do it because we don't have a better option. We do it because we think alcohol is helping us. It's like that person we talk about all the time, that we talked about all too much a couple of weeks ago, where you have someone who's in love with this guy who's abusive and bad. And you're sitting there on the outside and you're like, the guy hits you, he belittles you, he makes you feel terrible. Yeah, but he loves me. Wait, what? It don't look like love to me. Right? Like when I love someone, I don't go doing those things. I want to take care of them. I want to be nice to them. And so we look at it and we will make so many excuses. Oh, wow, that is loud. Let me exit that there. We make so many excuses as to this alcohol making us feel good, but it doesn't. And I mean, let us know in the chat box, how many of you guys just want to feel good? You want to feel good daily. Like today, I woke up, we were late because my stomach was messing with me. I don't know why, it just was. And I didn't feel that great. But, I had some water, I had some coffee, took my shower, had my smoothie. I'm feeling better. And back then, to feel this way would be good. Like having just a stomach ache and being a little tired would have been a good day when I was drinking, because I felt like crap all the time. My eyes were always puffy. I was lethargic. I didn't want to do anything. I was always stressed out, and nothing really worked. And Tim said after a certain point, alcohol made me feel tired and like crap, which helped me to quit. Absolutely. And looking at that is important, because that's what we are craving. So when you have a craving and you have a thought to drink, it's not really a thought to drink. It's a thought to feel better. That's what it is. And funniest damn thing, I remember when I would crave a beer. I loved beer. That's what I loved. I liked all different types of beer. Loved it. And I remember when I craved it and I drink it and I had that feeling. Y'all know that first feeling you get when you drink and you're like, this is the first one of the day. It's good. And now I get that same feeling with like water or tea or my smoothie. It doesn't really, I was attributing all these things to alcohol that it didn't deserve, much like, as we always say, the gal that's in the abusive relationship. Oh, well, he provides for me. He does this. You say all these things it does, and it's like, yeah, but I mean, anyone can provide for you. There's like 8 billion people on earth that can provide for you. That's pretty easy. Or he's nice to me, or he's the only one that will love me. Well, I mean, there's 8 billion people on earth. I'm sure, there's some guys that'll love you. There's some girls that'll love you. There's all kinds of things that will love you everywhere. You're just looking in the wrong spot. And with alcohol, it's the same way. We feel we don't have any other option because it lies to us and says that is the only option. That's it. The only thing that'll make you feel better is alcohol or drug. And it's not true, as I've proven for 10 years. There's things that have made me feel way better than alcohol. Exercise, getting involved in work, distracting myself, being entertained. I mean, how many concerts have I gone to sober that I actually get to like make it through the first 3 songs without forgetting everything? Like, that feels better than being drunk and wasting. I mean, how much does it cost to go to a concert today? Like $18,000 per seat, something
Yeah.
like that. Thank you, Jeb Bush. That was his law back in the Florida 1990s. But looking at that and understanding, like, I can feel better. How many of us just want to feel better? And we can get there. But drinking leads to feeling bad over and over and over. My brother, we're supposed to go to a funeral for my cousin this weekend, and he's not going because he was on a bender and he doesn't feel good. And I'm like, bender not feeling good doesn't sound good. Like, how many of us would sign up for alcohol if we had to sign up for everything it gave us all the time? Like, if I was like, hey, Terry, you want to go get drunk, feel like shit the next day, possibly get a DUI, maybe lose your job, and just overall feel like you need to drink to live? I think Terry would be like, yeah, I'm good. I'll be like, dude, but you don't understand. There's going to be some good people there. I'll be like, no, I think I'm good. But the alcoholic brain says, well, maybe this time will be different. Nope. Maybe next time will be different. Nope. Maybe next time I'll have 3. Or I'll stop at 10. If I stop at 10, I can't get drunk because I always get drunk past 11. Or maybe I'll just have beer. Or maybe just 1 glass of wine. It's a glass of wine. The report said it's good for your heart. The report was also put out by the alcohol committee, but that's beside the point. You know, it's going to be good, but it's not good. And over, we prove to ourselves that this does not work. And the fact that you're thinking about alcohol doesn't matter. I think about lots of things. I have 60,000 thoughts a day, according to the thought police, right? They say we have 60,000 thoughts a day. All right, so if 1,000 of them are alcohol, that's 1,000. So let's say we're awake, 18 hours a day. So if we do 1,000 over 18, that means you're thinking about alcohol every minute. Right? Is that right? Every minute? It might be every hour.
Yeah.
No, that's every minute. Yeah, because there's 1,400 minutes in a day. So you got every minute. And that's still 1/60th of your thoughts. Now I think about it once a month, twice a month. When I'm stressed, maybe once a week. The only time I think about it is when I do these talks to not think about it. And that seems to work pretty good too. But realizing, like, your thoughts don't mean shit. That was the best lesson I ever learned. That if I hadn't got sober, I wouldn't have learned that, because I went to a church where they said, you need to take every thought captive. It's God or the devil in your thoughts. And so I went around like some OCD, alcoholic, crazed person thinking, oh, hey, I thought this, that's bad. I thought this, that's good. It's just thoughts. That's all it is. Unfortunately, we live in the United States of America, me and Terry, and a lot of us. And in the good old US of A, it is a consumer culture that is designed to get you to think that what you think is what you should have. We're here to think, well, if I want something, I should be able to Uber Eats it right here. If I want an alcohol, I should be able to get it right here, right now. If I want this candy bar, I should be able to have it. If I want this certain type of beer that is only made in Northern California twice a year, and there is one that's like that. I used to love it. And, and it's funny, now that I think about the taste, it's like, take it or leave it, whatever. But at any rate, we are programmed to think that what we want is what we need, and we're going to have it right now. We are the most impatient people. And if you don't believe me, start a YouTube channel and read the comments. You will believe that people are very impatient. And they think they should get what they want when they want it. I used to think this. I thought I was the captain on the hill that said, hey, bring it. I need to get what I want. I want a drink. I'm going to get a drink. I'm a grown man. I should get what I want. Screw that. There's plenty of people who don't get what they want and they're just fine. They're probably better off than us. And to think that just by thinking about drinking means we should go drink is the silliest thing ever. And I know because I thought that. I used to think that that was the key. And thoughts are not things. I know there's this law of attraction that says thoughts are things. I know there's a verse in the Bible that says, as a man thinketh, so is he. But that is not true. If that was true, every guy would probably be a girl because that's what guys think about, right? They're like, hey, she's pretty, she's pretty. You'd turn into a girl. If your thoughts became things, that's what would happen, right? Or me, I grew up, I thought about money. Am I a dollar bill? No, the thought did not become me. Right? That's what we thought about when we were growing up. Dad was a business guy, and that's how it worked. But understanding, like, chill out. Your thoughts don't matter. They don't matter. Right?
That's
Like,
right.
go ahead, Terry. I'll let you take it away for a minute.
Thank you. Okay, wow, you covered a lot of stuff. Was just the truth. You said yes, it is a quick feel good, and that's a lot of what Marcus was talking about. To only feel worse later, and yeah, that's a really big reason why a lot of people don't stay sober, is it's that quick feel good. And unfortunately for a lot of us, it takes that falling off the wagon and starting drinking again, and continuing to chase that feel good feeling, to realize that that's not what happens, because we do feel worse, and usually the consequences get worse and worse. And you guys have all mentioned that. Scott Lowe also mentioned something that's really that's big in sobriety and staying sober, and that's grateful people stay sober and ungrateful people drink. And that's true, and that's part of what you need to do, part of some of the stuff you need to do to continue sobriety and to not take that first drink. And we've already kind of mentioned it, but the first and most important thing is understanding that you are chemically dependent. You have to accept that down deep down inside, that you have to work on sobriety. You have to work on staying sober. That's how you're going to do it. It's scrolled up, so I forgot who said it, but one of you said you were able to get sober on your own, and good for you. Congratulations on that. I tried tapering; it didn't work for me. Most people, it doesn't. There are people that do get sober on their own, and that's great. For me, if you're going to look at percentages and or anything like that, uh, pretty much most everybody needs help getting sober. And once you understand that you're chemically dependent, that you have to work on your sobriety, it's important to get help. And what does that look like? Does that mean AA? Does that mean the hospital recovery group? Some other thing? Getting medicine that helps with the cravings, the online, all that stuff that I've already mentioned? Yes, all of it. Try it all. um, the most important thing for me was, when I was trying everything I could try to stay sober and to get sober, was I had to let go of things that I think are not gonna work. I had to push that away. I had to push away the fear about talking to people about serious things. I didn't want to talk about my personal life to people, so I had to let go of those the judging other programs and whatever they're trying to push on me. I just had to take it in. I didn't have to accept everything they're telling me, but I had to listen, and listen with an open mind. That was super important. I also had to do some other things. I had to simplify my life. Now, this may not be very easy for people, but I was able to really simplify my life and just kind of not get too much going on in my life, at the same time staying busy with my life. And I was starting to do those things that I enjoy doing. That way I have some other outlet other than the drink that makes me feel good right now. What about going on a bike ride, or or walking the dog, something like that, hanging out with family? And if that's possible, some people, they don't want to hang out with their family, but hanging out with people that are not drinking, that are doing things you like to do. Going bowling. I love bowling. I don't bowl very often anymore, but it's a fun thing to do. But that's some of the things. It's taking action that can help you get sober, and taking that action. So I mentioned a lot of things you need to do, But some of that action is things you need to not do. And we've talked about it many times before, but it's worth repeating. And that's things like getting the alcohol out of your house. It may not be possible because there might be somebody else that's drinking. Have a conversation with them and say, hey, can you keep it in this cabinet over here, the one that I'm not going to look in? And can you not leave it sitting out on the counter? Things like that. And trying not to go to, especially in early sobriety, don't go to those parties, especially the ones where everybody's drinking like a fish, and don't go to those events. Or or show up to some of these events like a wedding or something like that where drinking's going to happen, but you really need to go to the wedding. It's somebody you love or you care for, and you need to go. You show up on time. You leave right after they cut the cake. Or a party, you go to the party on time. You you leave when you start to see things are starting to get a little crazy. You thank the host. You don't have to say goodbye to everybody, and you leave. Simple things like that. Things you need to not do. Stay away from that alcohol, and that's a really big thing. And stop. Maybe it's as simple as taking a different way home so you don't go driving by that liquor store. That's another tool that many people do use, and that's something that they don't do anymore. And stop trying to blame other people for everything in life. I notice this a lot with people that are struggling back and forth. Goes along the same lines as what Scott was saying, and the gratitude is the being ungrateful and thinking that everybody's out to get you. The cable companies, they're trying to rip me off. This person did this to me. I got cut off today. This guy was trying to cut me off. He didn't do it on purpose. Didn't wake up this morning and say he was going to cut you off. It's just what happens. And that's another tool to not do to stay sober, is trying to get away from that blaming, the resentment towards others, being grateful for what you do have. When I got sober, I was very grateful that I had a home, and I had my sort of had my health. At least I was able to. I was pretty sick, but I was reasonably healthy. At least I was alive, and I had a dog. Those are the three things I had left when I got sober. That's it. And I was just stayed grateful that I had those things every day. Some people don't. Many people never get those things in their life. And I was able to. And I've tried to stay grateful throughout my sobriety. These are some of the things that you need to do. And Marcus, I know you like to listen to talks. That's one thing that helps you, right? And you do some other stuff. I know you stay busy, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it really has to do with changing up your time, getting new thoughts, because my thoughts sucked. I was like you thought, Ed, everything was against me. I was a victim of everything. And then I realized, well, I'm kind of not. Like, nobody really cares. Nobody's really paying that much attention to what I'm doing. So, like, it's not that big of a deal. And then I learned, okay, not everything's against me. I need to stop drinking. Um, and really looking at, like, what am I going to do now? How am I going to change the way that I think? Um, and really, I think one of the best thoughts was, I can't drink anymore. No matter what, I'm not going to drink, even if my ass falls off. Now, in the beginning, that was difficult because I wanted to fight it. I wanted to drink. But then as time went on, it became, I don't really want to drink anymore. I don't care about this anymore. Like, now, it doesn't really even register. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I wonder what that would taste like, but it doesn't really, I don't really care. I'm not sitting here wishing I could drink. It doesn't make a difference to me. I like the life that I've built without drinking. And that's something I would not change for anything.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just agreeing with you. Me too.
Okay.
I love the
Yeah.
life that I have without drinking. And
Yeah. And that's the key, is just realizing, like, hey, this is something I didn't expect. I thought I was going to be oh, shoot, I can't drink anymore. This sucks. But in actuality, it was not that at all. In actuality, it was, wow, I don't have to drink anymore, and I don't want to drink anymore, because I realize what it does. And
it's a
seeing the truth about it is key.
yeah. I mean, it's one of the things that I see, especially in early sobriety or before somebody gets sober. I see it all the time, and I felt the same way. So I totally relate. Where where I see these people that have sobriety, they've been sober for a while, and they're like, "Oh, it gets better. Oh, sobriety is better than the being sober is my worst day in sobriety is better than my best day when I was drunk." And if you're in early sobriety or before you get sober, you might be thinking, what are they talking about? You're crazy. And that's kind of the way I felt. I was like, don't give me that crap. You don't get a drink anymore. And, that's I've seen that many times, and yeah, it's true though. It's true, and if you give it a try, I mean, that's the thing is, if you're struggling with alcohol, stop. Stop for a year or so. Go to a doctor, do it safely. Stop for a year. You can start drinking again. It's okay. It's up to you. Your sobriety is your responsibility. Nobody else is going to make you sober. But see what happens. See how it goes. You might have cravings, like that one person earlier had mentioned. They've been sober for quite a while. They still have cravings, but they're still, if you notice in what they said, they're still happy they're sober. It's a great thing. It's much better than being a slave to alcohol. That's what I was. I was a slave to alcohol, and you don't have to be. And it's life's great without a drink. That's for sure. And if you like what we're talking about here and you want to support us, you can go over to talksober.com, and there's a program there that you can get if you want to support us. And it doesn't just help somebody get sober, it'll help you stay sober. It's something that's good to go back to here and there, and go over there and you click the yellow button and join our club. If you want to talk to us personally about sobriety, you can get a private call with Marcus and myself, and that's also on talksober.com. And we have a little test on there, as far as if you think you might be having, you're not sure if you've got an alcohol problem. There's a little self-test you can take, and it'll give you an idea on whether you might want to look at it a little bit further. And you can join our Facebook group, Talk Sober, and yeah, we have lots to do over there. And go check us out. Our program, we got lots of videos and PDFs. We got little worksheets and things like that you can work through. So come check us out.
Absolutely. Thanks. Well, where am I? Absolutely. Thanks for being here, guys. Check out talksober.com. And if you need anything, reach out. If you have any ideas for videos you want us to do, make sure you put them as a comment. And we'll see you next week.